In this episode, we travel to Tokyo. Find cool stuff.
That's pretty dope as fuck, dude. It's fucking crazy.
And spend some time in a Japanese police station. Hey guys, if you've ever wanted to go to Japan just to go retro game shopping, well, in this episode that's exactly what we set out to do. Now, myself and 3 other friends decided to go to Tokyo solely for the purpose of looking for retro video games. So our main mission was to come over here and hit up a bunch of thrift stores. They call them recycle shops over here, and unfortunately they don't open up till around 11.
Give me head. What?
So unlike in America's thrift stores, these recycle shops in Japan are usually always going to have some gaming material in them. You'd be surprised what some people drop off at this place.
What uses one Battlefield? The waffles? What? The Flintstones?
Now, coming to these shops, these recycle stores, it's really a hit or miss. Sometimes they price things like at eBay prices, and sometimes they price things at very reasonable prices. It's a hit or miss, but it's definitely worth checking out.
I gotta say, like one guy was gonna sell me stuff. No.
You'll see later on in these videos when we go to the more high-priced stores in Akihabara Street that they have certain items that are on the top shelf that aren't for sale, like boxed systems, like rare systems, like, I don't know, like boxed twin Famicoms, and it's a shame that they're just not for sale.
Orange. In the box.
Finished my 4 years in college.
Let's go find you a girl real quick.
What is this stuff? What is it called?
Now, at this particular store, I actually bought a boxed Famicom, and I thought it was going to be broke or something wrong with it because it was only 20 bucks, but I actually took the gamble, took it back home, and everything was complete and in working order. It was great. Now check this thing out. It's like a vintage Mario figure display thing. I'm not sure. It's really small, but it's really expensive, like 100 bucks. I have no idea why. So I wasn't kidding when I said that we came to mainland Japan, Tokyo, for the sole purpose of retro game shopping. As you can see, we start out in the morning and we go all day until night.
Holy smokes. Like with people.
I'd say we started off waking up around 8 or 9 in the morning, just kind of get ourselves ready. The stores didn't open up till 10 or 11 o'clock in a lot of cases, which kind of sucks, but that's the way Japan operates. They open up a lot of their stores really late. So we'd head out and just hit up recycle shop after recycle shop. Now this is a pretty sweet find from a buddy of mine. He got a really good deal on it. It's Rob the Robot, or Robotic Operating Buddy. It released in 1985, and it only had 2 supporting games for it, but I think it's a really nice piece of history for the gaming community, and I was just interested in watching it function because I definitely didn't have one of these growing up.
게임 준비 다이소 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6ロボットとゲームがドッキングするとファミリーコンピューターはドキドキロボットゲームは楽しいぞ
ファミリーコンピューターロボットブロックセットジャイロセット
That's pretty dope as fuck, dude.
It's fucking crazy.
he opens all the things for you. That is so dope. Now, how do I continue? That's the question. Gonna have to
Here's where we packed up most of the things that we had bought and started shipping them back home, just to make things easier on us. Now here's where we're heading towards Occupier Street. You see a lot more highly priced items here, but there's so much there. It's insane. Like I could spend all my money like right in this one store here with the Rock Band figures, and you'll see some Final Fantasy figures, see some big Final Fantasy. They have everything from like anime, manga to you know, your retro games and so on. There's just so much to look at. You really can't look at all of it in one day. You should take like a weekend. Now here's where you can see a quick video. I recorded like a couple seconds of us just hanging out in the police station. We were there for like, I don't know, it was like over 2 hours trying to get it straight. We actually got a ticket. You can see our van right here at the bottom. That we parked illegally and got a pretty big ticket for it. But we all came together and split up and took care of it. Here's another really big store. It has like a wall of GameCubes. Pretty crazy. It's Super Potato. Highly expensive. Here's a silver Dreamcast. I'd never seen one before, and they wanted almost $300 for it. Pretty neat looking, but you know, everything's extremely overpriced in Super Potato. So if you ever go there, you're going to see a lot of cool stuff, but you're going to be disappointed because it's either not going to be for sale or it's going to be so expensive that you're not going to want to buy it. It's just ridiculous. Found this, but I think it's cheaper, a lot cheaper online. Final Fantasy plushies. They were like $8 a piece. I really wish I had picked some up, but I was already at like my spending limit by the time we got to Super Potato. Tons of Game Boy games, N64 games. They have like 2 separate floors. You see a little case right there, then the N64 case. I actually took that up to the front and was like, oh, how much? And they were like, not for sale. Now here's another really cool store. It's called Kotobukiya. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But it's like the 34th floor of this building in Akihabara Street. And it's got like all Star Wars stuff, or a ton of Star Wars stuff. And it's got all these figures that you can buy the kits for to put them together. Like the R2 and the X-Wing and the walkers. You can actually build them up and then, you know, buy modeling kits and paint them up, make them a little worn down and whatnot. So really neat. Here you have a sushi set, ice trays. This is pretty neat. You get all the stormtroopers in the background behind Darth Vader. It actually says that you can take pictures of it. A lot of stores won't let you take pictures of their figures and whatnot. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it has to do with like the competition of all the stores around or not. But you can actually take pictures of that one. I was surprised. And of course, Marvel's bigger than ever. There's a bunch of Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine figures over here. Some are pretty interesting, but highly expensive as well. Actually, on the cheaper side over here are the Alien figures. I see them all the time, and they're usually decently priced. These are some Yu-Gi-Oh figures. I figured I'd give a shot of them. I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, but some of the figures look pretty interesting. I thought these figures right here were pretty neat. It's like the female versions of all like superheroes and horror movies and whatnot. Or you got like the female version of the Edward Scissorhands. You got Spider-Gwen. Of course, she has her own comic. I think they had a female version of Chucky there. I wish I got a better shot of them, but it's one of those things that you're recording at the time and don't pay much attention to. And then you go back and look at your video of the trip, and you're like, man, I should have bought some of those. Those would have been really cool to have.
But he felt like he was still too weak to be an apprentice until like right before the whole Star Force, or not Star Force, but Death Star blew up and shit. They actually he was gonna get Darth Vader a new suit because he finally realized like, okay, this is basically his power. So he's like, well, I'm basically.
Which book was that in? Or are you talking comics?
Comics. That's all canon.
So I'm reading the Darth Plagueis book right now.
Alright, so after that night, we pretty much had to wrap things up and head back to Okinawa the next day. So here we are catching our flight back to Okinawa. And I'd like to go back and kind of pinpoint more things. With, like, I bought a PC Engine over there, so I want to go back over there and focus more on PC Engine games. And I'll give you a quick overview on everything that I had bought on this trip. I picked up a bunch of small things here and there, like Laserdiscs and Virtual Boy games, but here's a quick overview. The PlayStation, the original PlayStation in the box, works perfectly fine. I got it for $8. Orange GameCube I got for $5. Works fine. I got my wife some Sailor Moon stuff. There's the Laserdiscs. Accumulating a collection because they're cheap. They're like $1 over here. What else? Super Scope, complete inbox, $5. Works great. I got that original Famicom in the box for $20. Works fine. Some Super Scope games. I had that Final Fantasy box for the average children, the limited edition series. Comes with the figure and everything. Got that for $20. Complete. There was PC Engine I picked up and Sonic Spinball, complete, for $8. So I mean, I feel like I did fairly well. I'm going to try to head back over there soon again and make a much more in-depth video of it next time.
That's freaking dope as fuck, dude.